All right, happy Thursday, everyone. Let's get straight into it. Gold looks bullish to me. Obviously, we had those two distributions, but other than that, we have clearly pumped up here. And reverse the sentiment. Probably bearish. Sorry, we're probably bullish on the 4 hour as well now. I will obviously double check that. Yeah. Yeah, so we are bullish across the board now on gold. I don't need this on my chart anymore. And then we can most likely use this as demand. This might even be overlapping demand, which I have a inkling that it is. Yeah, that is valid. I will use this. That is valid demand, overlapping demand as well, which will most likely get a good reaction from price. That is what I've got for gold for now. This is my only retest POI, and the best retest POI that you can really get at the moment. Nothing really else to do. Yeah, let's just leave this as is and see what happens. Yeah, that's all I got for gold, really. Truthfully, ideally, probably not gonna happen, but ideally I would like us to displace a little more and then come back down a little bit later to form that accumulation model upon this demand POI, but obviously only time will tell there, so we'll have to wait and see. We'll continue, keep the ball rolling. Silver, perfect respect of this demand POI and has broken all supply POIs. Obviously we're also quite bullish on silver by the looks of it now. And yeah, we're bullish now on most time frames as well on silver. So that's also something to be mindful of. Let me double check the daily. Am I missing something, or are we bullish on the daily as well? Yeah, we're bullish on the daily. We've been bullish on the daily since last Monday, really. Yeah. So yeah, we're pretty bullish across the board here on silver. No real POIs that are of interest to me just yet for now. Maybe something locally in here. could we have some overlapping moves here, potentially? Yeah, it's not really valid demand because, it's, as you can see, it's all being mitigated. So yeah, that ultimately there's not really a whole lot to do. Maybe here there could be some demand. No, we've just looked at that, haven't we? Yeah. Yeah. So it's all pretty much been mitigated. Let's stay patient and see what happens when price reaches this supply POI. Otherwise, there's just not a lot going on with silver for the time being. And I think it was still bullish on the hourly, despite that candle there. Yeah. So this is actually valid structure. No, it's not. So if it goes below here, it's still bullish on the hourly. That's our hourly low right there, which I will mark out just in case we do hit it. Okay. And then looking at oil, obviously we went to bearish temporarily and now back to bullish. Yeah, not a whole lot. The only thing I will do is see, we might get a scalp here. It's definitely not a given, but you never know how price might develop later down the track. So far, there's a semi-decent return to zone forming. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, overall, it's fairly bullish context. We've even got Asia. We do have Asia lows below, but I do expect us to go higher. Yeah, I expect us to move higher outside of this range and probably continue going higher. Maybe temporarily mitigate supply and then maintain the bullish uptrend that we're currently in. That's still my best retracement POI there. So if we do start pulling back into this, then definitely look for accumulations. Otherwise, not a whole lot more to do for oil. Looking at Euro GBP, we did have this counter context range yesterday, and that is exactly why it was counter context. We have just pumped higher. Context is important. Do not neglect context. No matter how clean a setup looks, just remember the context all the time for situations like these. Like, return to zone is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Return to zone is fantastic, but everything else is telling me the market's just going to continue going higher, and that is exactly what happened. That is valid demand, so we're going to leave that there. Should we get a pullback, great opportunity for a reaccumulation model there. Obviously, there's our SFPs. Yeah, not a whole lot more to do. What is the daily high saying? Yeah, still far away from that. And I'm not too interested in this range from a local perspective yet, not at all. Not at all. We'll leave this as is. Yeah. We'll leave this as is and see what else we can find. Euro NZD, we are in a demand POI. We are now bearish on the hourly. Just an FYI there. And then the 4 hour, I believe, would still be bearish. Yeah, that's correct. Still bearish on the 4 hour. Now we're obviously bearish on the 1 as well. We have closed quite deep into supply, so I feel like we are going to disrespect it. Could this be a retracement POI? Let's have a look. Looks valid to me. Yeah, that's fine. Clean retracement POI. If we move back up, then definitely look for a redistribution. Although it's already set. Other than that, nothing that catches my interest. It's not really going to be a model 1 for life because, or one model for life because Asia High has already been taken. So just be aware of that. But we might still get a push up and a pullback, so we'll see. Something like this, it might not be a confirmed model, but you could probably get a short off this. Not something I'd trade, but it aligns with the context. And then the weekly, probably still bullish. Weekly is still bullish. Weekly is still bullish, and I would have ideally liked us to hit this demand, but it's not really necessary. But I wouldn't be trading this from a long perspective just because of the range. This is not really clean cumulative price action, so I would refrain from trading that. And yeah, let's just see what occurs locally. GBP NZD. Oh, we've pushed through demand, so we're definitely bearish on this instance. Well, we're bearish on the hour, probably bearish on the 4. I would be. Ooh. We are actually still bullish on the 4. That's our valid 4 hour low. So it is just the hour, the hourly, which is bearish. And we're obviously leaving supply behind by the looks of it, so we might be able to get a pullback here as well. I'm not really interested in these refined PIs. This seems to have been mitigated. I will use this as my supply, and this is where the inefficiency is. So I will allow a pullback into that zone. Other than that, not a whole lot. I think we're going to get a pullback because we've left behind a nice buy side liquidity trail. Other than that, not really a whole lot to do. So yeah, let's see what happens. Heaps of supply left here. Well, we're still bearish. We've still got clean retracement POIs, so pretty much any pullback into this supply, given you get a strong break, you could even, as much as I have said I don't trade, you could even just short a supply retest and just immediately de-risk. Obviously, you got to wait for the break of structure, of course. But yeah, this just looks really, really bearish. So if you do get pullbacks, take them. Okay, GBP USD, let's have a look there. Well, I am still seeing a bullish move, which has now left behind demand. So this range is now demand. And this is still a market structure low. On the 2 to 3 hour, but then on the 1 hour, our low is here. Let me remove some of these alerts, we don't need them. Maybe, you know what, a pair 3 schematic I will allow here. We could definitely get a pair 3 schematic here. Yes, you have demand, but was this created on a session open? Yes, it was created on the New York Open. This could be quite good for a pair 3 schematic. Return to zone's nice. Is the daily still bearish though? To me, it looks like the daily would be bullish by now. Like that. Now that's bearish. Yeah, daily is bullish. I'm still not ruling out a PR3 schematic though, even with the daily being bullish now. Weekly. Yeah, weekly is still bullish. But yeah, let's see what happens here locally. I am intrigued. GBP USD. Asia low's in a good spot. Yeah, let's see what GBP USD does. We'll move this to the top 4 now. Let's have a look at GBP JPY. Still bearish. Still bearish. Nothing locally, unfortunately. There's probably some demand here, but don't really know how valid this is going to be. Yeah, not a whole lot for GJ at the moment. We'll just leave this as is. Context hasn't really changed much, so that's it for now. Well, this was class. Real class this was. And we're definitely bearish on the daily as well now, I would say. Yep. we've grabbed, yeah, this was a perfect distribution, which I did not take. We've spoken about it. But yeah, we've grabbed the monthly open as well. Great liquidity target in just one daily candle. So yeah, now we are bearish on the daily. And then the weekly is probably still bullish, I would say. Yes. We've mitigated demand. Even a little, actually no, you would have been stopped out there by the looks of it. But yeah, in terms of this demand, let's have a look. I think we just got to leave this as is for now. I have a feeling, because I think that price will continue going down, given it's just broken to bearish on the daily. And if we're lucky, we might get a pullback from here, somewhere along this supply POI. Yeah, not a whole lot to do at the moment, just be patient. GBP AUD. Well, we are still bullish on the hourly. That hasn't changed. Obviously, we've grabbed that liquidity. Still bullish on the daily. Yeah, there's just not a whole lot to do here. I think GBP/USD has just done its first deviation. Yeah, not a whole lot to do here. I'm just gonna leave this as is and let price give us some better data. Yeah, it's just up and down price action really. Yeah, we'll wait for a POI to get tapped. Before I go to USD JPY, GBP USD, awesome. And then we can use this demand. That is fine. But yeah, if we can come back in and mitigate this demand, that would be perfect for this setup. Okay, USD JPY. Well, we smashed through demand. So probably bearish if we weren't already, and we are already. Supply has been mitigated quite quite clearly. The only thing that's left is sort of this POI here. Yeah, not a whole lot to do here. So USD JPY will be left as is. Nothing has changed. AUD CAD. We've wicked our hourly low. So we've just doubled up on a 4-hour SFP here. You would be right to accumulate here, but we're just not seeing that happen as of yet. So plus we've left behind liquidity, so that can always get grabbed. Yeah, we'll leave this as is. Oh, we'd definitely be bullish at the moment on NZD CAD. So yeah, we're bullish on the hour, that's for sure. There's our demand. And then we are just bullish on the 4. And then probably still bearish on the daily, I would assume. But yeah, we could be on our way up for a third tap POI here, which I really don't mind. Preferably we come back and mitigate this demand first. That would be ideal. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it would be ideal. So yeah, let's see what happens here. Yeah, we're still in this ranging environment, so we'll let price do its thing. If it can come back and mitigate this, that would be great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Euro USD is also pumping. Have we closed or not? Okay, so we are bullish on the daily. My question is, are we also bullish on the 2-day? We're close to being bullish on the 2-day. Let's just remove some of this stuff. Yeah, we're most likely going to close bullish on the 2-day, and that would shift to bullish on the 2-day. Yes, we know. Well, we've left behind quite clear demand as well. So yeah, this would be great for a reaccumulation POI. Yeah, very valid supply. I wouldn't be rushing to really do anything else for this. We've just transitioned to bullish, so expect a pullback. You're going to get a pullback at some point. If we can pull back into this demand and reaccumulate, then that would be perfect. Otherwise, just be patient. AUD CHF. Whoa, we've taken out this return to zone which I outlined very, very nicely after SFPing the weekly high. Yeah, there you go. Unfortunately, I don't think there was a valid entry. No, there wasn't. There was never a valid entry, unfortunately, but price did deliver an SFP. It's also currently bouncing from demand. I can see this as being a potential temporary thing, and it might continue going lower. But thus far, we are still bullish on the daily, so that's also something that you should be taking into consideration. I'm curious if this is going to be valid supply. I have a feeling it might not be. Actually, it is overlapping. Yeah. Yeah, that's a valid pullback POI, so we'll see how price respects this, or if it doesn't respect it. That could indicate a daily bullish continuation. Other than that, not a whole lot more to do. Let's just be patient and see what price decides to do. Yeah. Let's wait and see. AD/USD. Broke to bearish here, broke back to bullish here. Actually, yes, that's bullish. Just it's a very weak break, but it is bullish on the hourly. And we are still bullish on the 4. And then the daily high, we can see that there. Is this valid demand though? I don't think it will be, to be honest. To be completely honest with you. Actually, it seems like it will be. That's fine. Valid demand, there you go. I'm willing to try something here locally. I would need better price action. I don't like the wick and the demand creation below. But given we're about to take this liquidity, we could definitely pull back. Hence why I'm eyeing a distribution here. And if that is the Asia high as well, then yeah, there you go. Asia low, sorry. Boom. All right, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. We'll move AUD/USD. We're in a supply POI, so we can expect rejection. So yeah, let's see what happens here. But yeah, on the high time frame, we are in an area where you can expect us to reject. So we will see. All right, that is it for today, guys. Thank you for listening, for viewing. Subscribe if you have made it this far. you've got a few pairs to keep an eye on for today and tomorrow, if you have watched this whole video and have made it to the end. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you all on the next one. I'll have a quick look of GBP USD. It's pulling back nicely, so yeah, let's see what happens. All right, peace.